Alright, you can go.
Okay. Hey, welcome to your first practical here with the cutting the teeth, and especially the class 1 occlusal. I just have a few tips for people. One is that you want to make sure that you move around, position yourself to make sure that you get to the position where you have the best visibility of where the bird is going. It's very important because if you can't see where you're going, you will cut it wrong. So if you need to be at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 12 o'clock, try that. Try different positions depending on the teeth that you're cutting and depending on what you're doing. The other thing to do is the patient will move their head for you. So the same thing with the dexter. Make sure that you move the dexter's head as you reposition yourself or position yourself to get the best visibility. Okay, so sometimes the chin needs to be up, sometimes the chin needs to be down, sometimes the dexter have to be looking at you or looking away from you. Just try different position and different head position to get the best visibility. That's one. The other one I was giving people hints on is that for me, when I do the cutting, I want to move the bird where I can see. So sometimes it might mean that you start at a distal and then you move it toward mesial, and that way you can see the bird coming, and you look where you're cutting. The other thing, I'm trying to remember what else here. The other thing that I talk with people about is you can use a trick that we use a lot in smoothing the floor of the prep. Let's say like the occlusal prep that you're doing, you could use a slow speed, put the speed at slower speed, and that way it will just smooth the floor. You can use it to also clean up the walls, and that way won't be cutting very much, it just be smoothing for you. For keeping the marginal ridge, in particular with the class 1 that you're doing, for the marginal ridge, what you want to do is avoid cutting too much of that. So for the distal pit and the mesial pit, you don't want your bird to be centering right on those, because that would mean that you'll be cutting into too much into the marginal ridge. So I would get the bird close to it, but not at the pit, and then lean the bird to get my diversion for the amalgam prep, for the dovetails, and that way that would get the distal pits and the mesial pits without cutting too much into the marginal ridges. The other instrument that you could consider or look at, it would be like if you need a 1 millimeter isthmus, or 1 or 1.25, that'd be for what you're doing. There's a tool in the poker kit, and that's a hatchet, and the number on that start with 10, and that means the width of the hatchet is 1.0 millimeter, and you can use that to check to make sure that your isthmus is the dimension that it needs to be, which is at least 1.0 millimeter. Okay?
All right.
Good luck, you guys.